This week has seen 3 men found guilty of charges relating to the Garissa University attack in Kenya in 2015. And Malawi elects the first woman Speaker of Parliament. This is Africa Focus. Here's a peek of the stories set in store today.
NBA's first training center on the continent based in Senegal opens its doors to young players. Muslim Brotherhood spokesperson calls on the Egyptian opposition to expel military rule.
I'm Lenny Rashid, and our sign language interpreter is Teresia Washira. Before we get into the main stories, let's take a look at the news that made the headlines around the continent.
Lenny, how are you? Good morning.
South Africa's double Olympic 800-meter champion Caster Semenya on Tuesday accused World Athletics governing body, the IAAF, of treating her like a human guinea pig. According to Semenya, the IAAF used her in the past as a human guinea pig to experiment how the medication they required her to take would affect her testosterone levels. The South African is locked in a bitter dispute with the IAAF over the federation's rule requiring women with higher than normal male hormone levels, a condition known as hyperandrogenism, to artificially lower their testosterone to compete in races at distances of 400 meters to the mile.
More than 300,000 people have fled inter-ethnic violence in northeastern Democratic Republic of Congo since early June, complicating the tracing and treatment of patients at risk from Ebola, UN aid agencies said on Tuesday, 18th of June. At least 161 people have been killed in the northeastern province of Democratic Republic of Congo in the past week, locals officials said on Monday, 17th June. In an apparent resurgence of ethnic clashes between farming and herding communities, the UNHCR fears that the escalation could engulf large parts of the province amid reports of killings, kidnappings, and sexual violence unleashed against civilians. The government is trying to bring the clashes under control, the UN Refugee Agency spokesperson Babar Baloch told the news briefing. An Ebola epidemic in Congo, which spread to Uganda last week, has caused 2,168 infections since August, including 1,449 deaths, with Ituri accounting for about 10% of cases and deaths, WHO spokesperson Tariq Jasarefik.
Every minute last year, 25 people on the planet were forced to flee, according to the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees' annual Global Trends Report on Displacement, equating to 2.3 million people in 2018 in a record high. The report shows West Africa had an increase in refugees and displaced people of more than 13%, and all of Africa has more than 6 million refugees in total. A spike this year in attacks in the Sahel region has forced thousands to flee their homes in central Mali and northern Burkina Faso, including Isaka Sawadogo, a 67-year-old Mosi from the largest Burkina Faso ethnic group. He is a wealthy trader with 3 wives and a very large extended family made up of 217 people. The government, with the help of the United Nations, has since set up camps in the north, including a main camp in Basalogo. Authorities also deliver food aid in Dablo, where hundreds fled in February. In 3 years, Burkina Faso has shifted from an island of stability in a belt of Africa beset by gun-fueled chaos to an epicenter of jihadi campaign where violence has killed hundreds and displaced 100,000 people, most of them in 2019.
Mauritania's leading presidential candidates are hoping that they have done enough to convince voters that they are right successors of President Mohamed Ould Abdelaziz, who is stepping down after a decade in power. The frontrunner among the 6 candidates is former General Mohamed Ould Ghazouani, a longtime ally of Abdelaziz, whose 2 elected 5 terms were preceded by a military coup in 2008. Nearly 30% of voters say they will vote for Ould Ghazouani and 23% for Ould Babar, according to the poll by the Mauritanian Center of Strategic Studies and Research conducted among 1,300 people in the capital last week. 4 other candidates in the conservative Muslim nation are outliers in the race, according to the poll.
A spokesperson for the Muslim Brotherhood in Istanbul called on the Egyptian opposition to expel military rule on Tuesday following the death of former President Mohamed Morsi. Morsi, a leading member of the Islamist group which is now banned in Egypt, died on Monday after collapsing in a Cairo court while on trial on espionage charges.
Thousands of people in Turkey took to the streets of Ankara and Istanbul on Tuesday to mourn Morsi with some chanting slogans blaming Cairo authority for his death. Speaking after the symbolic funeral prayers in Istanbul's Conservative Party district, media spokesman of Muslim Brotherhood Talat Fahmy blamed the Egyptian government for Morsi's death. Fahmy said Muslim Brotherhood expect the entire Egyptian opposition to expel the military rule.
They have killed President Dr. Mohamed Morsi because he held a project for the free will of the nation. He wanted Egypt to have sufficient medicine, nutrition and weaponry. He wanted people to live an honorable and endearing life.
Morsi, the first democratically elected head of state in Egypt's modern history, had been jailed since the army commanded by Egypt's current president Abdel Fattah toppled him in 2013 after barely a year in power, following mass protest against his rule.
Those coup leaders have killed Dr. Mohamed Morsi. They have implemented an incremental killing process throughout 6 years. They refused him medicine, refused him treatment. They did not allow him to see a doctor or go to the hospital. They refused him contact with his family, refused him contact with lawyers. He said that at the court. He was served poisoned food. He was experiencing loss of consciousness from diabetes. He was held in solitary detention for 6 years. The government, those coup leaders, have killed more than 800 people throughout the past 6 years in prison. People don't eat, they don't drink, and they do not receive any treatment. It is not unusual for those coup leaders to kill this man.
Activists have called for an investigation into Morsi's death and raised questions about his treatment in prison. Egypt's government have since dismissed accusations that he was badly treated. Turkish President Recep Tayyip also joined in the calls on Wednesday, saying that his close ally Mohamed Morsi was killed and accused Egyptian authorities of failing to intervene to save the ex-president. Speaking during a televised speech in Istanbul, he said Morsi was struggling on the floor in the courtroom for 20 minutes, but authorities did not intervene to save him. He went on to denounce the military takeover in Egypt and called it a coup.
Cities almost everywhere have transport problems. Just ask people stuck in traffic jams or overcrowded trains for their opinion. But daily travel in Kinshasa, capital of DRC, may have the best claim on the world's worst commuter nightmare.
Early morning in this part of eastern Kinshasa means one thing: another hectic rush hour. The bus carries all sorts of people, from businessmen heading for the city centre to students running late for their morning lectures. But like with many commutes, not everyone is happy.
We are stuck together like sardines in a can. There should be more respect for everybody's personal space. We have to stand up, so we're tired when we arrive. It stops us from studying properly. They should provide more buses.
An alternative solution for getting around this vast city is taxis and shared taxis, a distinctive shade of yellow that fills up the crowded streets. They must carry a registration number in plain sight, a measure imposed to crack down on would-be kidnappers. But even these taxis, which seem so numerous, have an issue with insufficient supply.
It's tricky at this time of day because people are leaving work, but hopefully I'll find a taxi.
With these travel issues facing the residents of Kinshasa, a handful of Uber-style startups are hoping to move in and fill a gap in the market. The most well-developed of these companies is managed by young entrepreneur Patricia. Her startup, Uber's Cabs, has a large fleet of vehicles across the city. One snag is the cost, usually somewhere between $10 and $40. It's out of reach for the majority of the local population.
The goal at the moment is to reach all social classes. We started with the middle classes, but we'd like to offer the same service but with different models of vehicle to be able to cater to the needs of all the people.
Kinshasa is the third biggest city in Africa, with a population of some 10 million. And like many African metropolises, it's only forecast to get bigger in the coming years. And that means that the public transport situation will have to develop and continue to evolve.
When the word art is mentioned, what mostly comes to mind is performing arts or drawings. Rarely will one think of art in food. In Kenya, Beatrice Wangui knows the importance of food and aesthetics and turns this into cash. Take a look.
When it comes to art, Beatrice Wangui knows the importance of aesthetics. She creates some of the best, if not the best, cakes in town at Joy Bell's Cake House. Like this shoe, meant to be somebody's surprise birthday cake. We find the mother of 3 adult children doing final touches on his wedding cake that is to be delivered in a few hours.
That cake, even today, I smell it, I see it, I have the picture, like live of that cake. So from that day, I developed interest, and I started looking forward to school holidays where I would come and just take some eggs and koroganisha and make a cake, and that's it.
The dream of a young high school girl would later exemplify art at its best in a field that has become more competitive in recent years.
It is a retirement. We'll make for you a sofa set because you are going to rest. If you are a Christian like I am, you will want to be reading the Bible. You will want to be taking a cup of tea slowly because now you don't want hurried time. So we'll create you that design.
Beatrice recounts with nostalgia how a cake in the form of a kiondo gave her baking career a new lease of life.
Unajua zile chest, the treasure chest, those treasure boxes, the ancient ones, zile za pirate, those things ndo zinakuwa na vitu kama hizi. Unaona, if you look at those ancient Egyptian tools, the boxes, they always have this goldish designs and all that. And unapata in royal houses, this is what you'll find. So if you make somebody a cake in a symbol of that, they'll also feel appreciated more than just a kawaida cake.
Joy Bell's Cake House has since grown in leaps and bounds. It employs 6 workers and offers baking lessons to people fascinated by the cake's unique designs.
Ever since I was a little kid, I used to love baking because my dad has been a baker, and so it has been a great passion for me. So I wanted to finish school. Then I'm doing this for 1 month. So after 1 month, I go and maybe start my own bakery. But at the same time, I'll still be doing journalism. So this is a part-time course.
Wangui has developed a reputation for her intriguing designs. Sometimes customers will order from as far as Nyeri just to have a bite of the delicious treats.
The designs they gave me, I didn't like them. First of all, then make us. And so we made them. Yes, they deal with beans, they deal with maize, they deal with dengo, everything serious. And of course they weighed. In that cake there was a weighing machine. I don't know whether you saw it, but that's what we did. And it was a hit. And we did the kiondo, of course, for the parents' giveaways. And we put there some jahe and beans on the other one. And I tell you, that was the most photographed cake ever.
Special design wedding cakes cost between 80,000 and 150,000 shillings, while customized cakes cost a minimum of 3,500 shillings.
We had to redo one part of the cake like 3 times. We had to redo it until we were satisfied that it wouldn't not only be okay for the cake to be nice, looking beautiful here, but it will be safe to even transport that cake some distance away from here to the venue.
If Wangui is not creating art at the bakery, she spends time mentoring upcoming bakers. Art is not just what you draw or paint. In Wangui's case, the best form of art is the one you can eat.
The NBA Academy Africa, located in Senegal, is the first elite basketball training center for the top male and female basketballers throughout Africa. Following scouting programs conducted with local federations across Africa and elite skills camps, prospects will be selected to attend the academy.
These are the best young basketballers in Africa. Selected through rigorous local scouting programs and elite skills camps, they have come from across the continent to develop that talent at the NBA's African Academy. This is the NBA's first training centre on the continent. Based in Senegal, it opened its doors to young players last year.
The aim is to develop basketball, to develop the NBA across the continent, because we have had, as I was telling you before, a long history of great players that have come from this continent who have made history in the NBA.
After 2 to 4 years training, they'll be hoping to score a place at an American university. Ambitious and hardworking, these players are put through their paces. Only the best will make it.
It'd be great to play for any team in the NBA. Anyone in the NBA franchise would be great, but Lakers would be the best, yeah.
J'aime bien. The Academy is supporting these young players academically as well, to prepare them in case they don't manage to turn their sporting passion into a career.
And what the NBA had done, they made a conscious decision to make sure we give them leadership skills, time management skills, life skills, all the things that are necessary in order to be successful. So it's not just about basketball.
The NBA recently announced the creation of the Basketball Africa League in 2020. This championship will give the young players more opportunities at a basketball career when they leave the academy.
Ghana's Atewa Range Forest is renowned for its world-leading biodiversity, but it's believed to be under threat due to the presence of bauxite beneath the soil.
The Atewa Range Forest Reserve is home to some of the world's most critically endangered animals. But under the ground are also large reserves of bauxite, the mineral that makes the earth red and which is a key ingredient in making aluminium. Ghana's government has signed a multi-billion-dollar deal with China to allow them to mine bauxite in exchange for vital infrastructure projects. The land around the reserve has previously been affected by illegal gold mining.
We are going in for big trouble because the way bauxite mining is done is not like gold, where you can take out the sand, put it somewhere, and then fill it back. You're actually taking away the whole soil, and with it you have to clear the forest to be able to get to that.
Environmentalists say any pollution of the 3 rivers that have their source in the forest could affect millions of people downstream, including in the capital, Accra.
Being a national park and then establishing tourism activities here would help us better than the bauxite mines.
Aluminium ore prospectors first came to the area more than a decade ago. Samples from their drilling have been abandoned. Some say investors pulled out because mining would have been too controversial. Others say it's needed to bring about greater prosperity.
There's no job, so we want bauxite mining to come. Morally, we want it to come, so that our people get a job to do.
Ghana's President Nana Akufo-Addo is from the main town of Kiebi, on the eastern slopes of the forest. He's promoting rural development, but there's a growing campaign to stop him achieving it at the expense of the environment he's vowed to protect.
Coming up after the break.
We highlight a celebrity chef in the Sao Tome and Principe who is putting the chocolate island on the African map.
We're about to take a water break. Don't touch that dial. Africa Focus will be right back. Welcome back to Africa Focus. On the tiny island of Sao Tome, Chef João Carlos Silva showcases the natural produce that he hopes will attract visitors to this unspoiled archipelago.
This coffee plantation turned restaurant is home to celebrity chef João Carlos Silva. He opened the restaurant more than 20 years ago on his native island of Sao Tome and has only ever served organic ingredients.
There are no chemicals used here, and a lot of products in Sao Tome and Principe are organic.
The son of a Santomean cook, Silva has quickly made a name for himself in the island nation. His cooking has even made him a star on Portuguese television. Most people outside Portugal have never heard of this tiny former colony, but Silva is on a mission to change that through his food.
Mango paste with yogurt from Greece, it's Greek, and a small manioc cake with cheese, that's all.
Silva is passionate about using only the finest ingredients. He grows many of his own products, combining them with top-quality imports to concoct a truly seductive menu.
I didn't expect a chief or a guy like him here in Sao Tome, but it's absolutely great that he is here because everybody knows him, and for tourists it's, I guess, a good occasion to have this type of food.
Known as the Chocolate Islands for the quality of its cocoa, Sao Tome and Principe is heavily reliant on foreign aid, but increasingly tourism revenue too. And Silva is on a mission to put his country on the map, advocating a smarter tourism that's both cultural and ecological.
Flying across the vast deserts of Mali on reconnaissance and protection missions would be a challenge for any pilot. But Sandra Hernandez stands out. She's the only female helicopter pilot in El Salvador's contingent of the UN's Mali peacekeeping mission.
Sweeping across the desert of West Africa, helicopter pilots from El Salvador have been taking part in the UN's Mali mission for the last 3 years. But as the only woman in the contingent, Sandra Hernandez stands out.
Since I was little, I always loved flying, as my father flies planes, and my 2 older brothers are pilots as well. One flies planes and the other helicopters. I've always felt really proud of them.
Sandra flies reconnaissance missions and escorts UN patrols, as well as protecting civilians in this restive region.
We're always ready and have a response time of under 7 minutes, in which we can be ready to provide security and make a show of force against armed groups attacking civilians.
For the unit's commander, having a woman on board is a real benefit when it comes to gaining the trust of local communities.
I'm really very proud to have her here at the heart of our team, and she helps keep up morale with the guys. She also really helps our contact with the locals here. The civilians see a woman pilot working and interacting with the people, and particularly the women of Mali.
With her 16 years' experience as a combat pilot, Sandra also acts as a role model for more junior members of the unit.
The younger pilots have got a lot to learn from her. She's very professional and puts a lot of effort into her job. We'd all do well to follow her example.
While Sandra enjoys being part of El Salvador's first UN peacekeeping unit, there are sacrifices to be made too. The most difficult thing for her is being so far away from her 8-year-old daughter for months at a time.
On Africa Focus, we love hearing from you, so make sure you get interactive with us on our various social media pages. Remember, you can view this program along with our wide array of other programs on DSTV channel 268, on Zuku channel 53, and on Azam TV channel 138. On behalf of the entire team here on Africa Focus, thank you for keeping us company on this exciting journey throughout the continent. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing. Keep it switched.